Hi there, gentlefolks. Welcome back to part 2 of this old boy splashing about in his watercolour pool. As you know, I like to have a little group buzz chat before I get underway, but there's not really an awful lot I can say about this one. Part 1 is what it was, and I'm not going to try and remake it. Yes, it had a few gremlings, but as you know, I don't do perfection, and as I said in the first part 1, I know where I'm starting, I know where I'm going to finish. What happens in between is anybody's guess, and in this particular case I actually managed to use those gremlings because it was getting a little bit all samey there, and so they forced me to change direction, and I started playing around with some kids' crayons, which I might actually do at a later date, in order to get a thumbnail, just so that I can get this one underway. As you know, I'm running very short of time. But coming back to the gremlin, I'm actually filming this one on my old faithful camera there, and look, I've been out, yeah, look, Black Friday, got myself a budget, good deal, new camcord. Mind you, it looks the same, but this one is a lot more sophisticated. It's got Wi-Fi, so it now is telling me it can actually talk to my phone, and it can do all sorts of wonderful things, but I'm really not that interested in that, as long as it will talk to you. And as far as the technology and the Wi-Fi, I'm going to have to wait till the grandchildren come along and give me a little bit more information about that. So a thought has crossed my mind. When one's old faithful starts giving you a lot of hassle, there is nothing like a new competitor on the block to make the old one start to behave. Now hang on, I'm talking about my camera, right? So what? Yeah, I know what you're like, now behave. So having said that, I'm now going to finish my cup of tea, gel my silver locks back so they don't get in the way of the frame. Meanwhile, you can do your thing, drag your stool up alongside my drawing board, and we'll chew the fat on part 2, and let's just see what happens. Okay folks, let's do it. Before I get my brushes wet, we need to do a little bit of catch-up work here. If you have not seen part 1, then I would suggest that you go down to the left hand, just below the screen. You'll see my image and my name. Press on that. That will bring you to my channel, where you'll find part 1 and all sorts of other odds and ends. Right, now, having said that, what are we actually doing here? Well, we are in actual fact giving visual birth to what was no more than an idea. And yes, it's had a few problems already, electrical ones though, but I'm now going to pick up on this, and I have not rehearsed this one, by the way, so you are watching me struggle my way through it. Okay, yes, I've got a lot of experience on which I can fall back on, but nevertheless, when you start a picture, it will never be quite what you actually visualized, because the picture has its own say, right? So in this particular case, you're going to be watching me struggling with one or two problems. I can already see one here, by the way, and I've no doubt if you've already made a start on this wash at the top here, you're already running into problems. So psychologically you're going downhill a little bit and you're feeling a little bit depressed. Well, don't be, right? There is nothing here that we cannot sort out. So my job as a tutor is to try and give you an insight into my head, and you can watch me struggling away here. There is nothing worse than, now look, we've all been here. Remember when you was at school and all of a sudden they were going to be singing lessons in a choir, and you thought, oh, really excited, and off you go, and you all line up and you all start to sing, and you get nymphs and shepherds come away, anywhere, and everything stops, and they point at you and turn around and say, you can't sing. So go to the back line and just open and close your mouth. That is not teaching, that is humiliation. And that one little thing from a professional person may stop you singing now for the rest of your life, because you have been told by a professional person that you can't sing, so therefore you avoid it, as a result of which you never improve. So the job of a tutor is to turn around and say, okay, yes, we've got a few problems there, but with a little bit of patience and my tutoring, we can help to improve that voice. And that is what I'm actually doing here with this watercolour. Right, now, enough of the old rabbit going on there. For those who've seen part one, you've noticed that I've made some changes. In actual fact, I'd almost finished at the time when the gremlins came in. So look, I'm going to zoom this in so you can see what I've done. Right, now that underwash, look, I've put it around the scarf there, round the mum's, Snow Mum's hands, and just around the actual Snow Baby's face there, even just under its fingers. Now the reason I put it on the scarf is because when I start to put the colours on, I can't put these sort of underlays in, so they're already there, right? Now, of course, you actually need to know roughly where it is I'm going here. Look, in order to get myself out of trouble the other day, I did a quick crayon image, just as I needed a thumbnail in order to get part one out, because I didn't have a complete picture. So I've done this up, and it's given me just a rough idea. There's no guarantee I will actually use these colours, but at least I can see what it is I've got in my head there. And that is the direction I will be moving. Right, now I'm going to move this camera back again. Look, you will have noticed that I've made a slight alteration on the trees. There is a reason for that. I said to you I wanted the smaller trees behind the snow line, and I wanted to bring these forward to stop a mirror image going on both sides, which would be rather monotonous. So I've raised the height of those original trees. It's absolutely no problem to do because I was just using the same wash. You can see they're a little bit taller, and I've brought them to the foreground here. The only problem is that I've now created a new problem for myself, because look, the line's going in behind the Snow Mum Baby, and something has happened in between that suddenly comes out the other end. So I'm going to have to find a way of dragging this back across there, back into line along there. It's very much like when you get a wash on the sky and somebody's kicked their way around the chimney pot, and the sky has come out the other side of the chimney pot totally different. So I've got a composition problem here, but I'll find a way around it. So, having said all that, I shall now get my brushes wet. I've got fresh water there. Oh, just as a matter of interest, I did try my new camera. it was looking good until I put it onto the monitor, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these weird pings and whines and space sounds. I get the feeling my camera's trying to talk to a satellite up there somewhere. I don't want it to do that. I want it to talk to you. So until my whiz kid grandchildren come round who know more about these sort of things, I'm back on my old faithful, and I hope she serves me well. Right now, I'm about to use my Chinese white, and it is in a block form here. And I put a little puddle of water on there a few minutes ago to soften it up a little bit. Now, I am using absolutely pristine, clear, fresh water, and I've touched my Chinese white, and I'm going to be using a secondary, absolutely clean palette on which I can transfer the white. You can't see it, but it is there. Now, a small but technical point. When using this Chinese white, do not, whatever you do, go and touch one of the other colours, because you will actually contaminate it, so that when you come back to do another painting, you're going to find that these lovely colours are contaminated by this white. So therefore, instead of being lovely and translucent, they will now become a bit cloudy. Okay, so that is a golden rule, and I will also use that exact same rule when I come to use the gouache white. Right, at the same time as I'm starting to use this white, and it is a sort of a first coat of white, let me just zoom that in just a little bit more. Right, now I said that I had a slight technical problem here. Something happened when the landscape went behind the Snow Mum's body. So I'm going to solve that. Now look, I could just put in a little blue wash coming down here so that it doesn't go in there and come out there. But what I've decided to do, and I'm being nitpicky here, I'm going to take these forward trees, and I'm going to put a shadow coming through the other side. So look, it looks as though it's coming through here. And then I will actually put a little bit of shadow just on the last piece of that mound at the top. Now, the reason why I'm being very fussy here, I could have just put some more distant trees down here, but then I will get some distance because the trees will be small, but I've lost that little escape place. And on all paintings, even though it's only a Christmas card, I like to have that little bit of distance, so therefore I don't want to fence it in with trees. In other words, I don't want to take these trees over here. Well, I can't, or I could have one set of trees, 2 and 3 in the background, but I'm going to try and maneuver my way around so that I'm starting to connect up with that on that side. Right now, I know I'm being fussy, but that is not my perfection, but the nature of me. Right, now here we go. What I'm going to do, and look, it will look fairly like quite white, but it will in actual fact fade off. So remember, I'm keeping the shape of these trees up here. Remember, the little twigs at the top tend to come out, and gradually as I come down I can drop them down. Can't see the white on my palette now, how bad's that? And look, I'm not going to be over fussy. Look, I'm blobbing some of it because I don't want, I'm not looking for detail back there. I'm just, look, as the branches come down, they start to droop down a little bit, And I've got a feeling this is going to be my lead tree. I don't know yet. So gradually coming down. Here we come. Right, now I'm puddling it because snow does that. I want it sort of bloopy snow. Now you can see that that's starting to disappear already up there. Hence I will be coming back with a second layer. And I won't be using that Chinese white until, not Chinese white, gouache white, until I'm coming to the end, because I want a little bit of bling, highlights. And if I use them now, I'll have nowhere to go when I come to the end of the painting. At which point we give birth to this idea. Right, I'm now reaching past my crop area, so I won't get over fussy here. Right, now, these are off in the distance. So, it would be possible, if I'd done a lot more pre-planning, and as you know I haven't, slightly sort of warmer colours back there, but over here I could have dropped in a green. I could still do that in actual fact. All I've got to do is put yellow on top of that blue and let the blue grin through the yellow, so it would be green. Now if you're struggling with getting some of these shapes, they don't have to be Christmas tree shapes. Remember that all trees still grow even if it's Christmas or winter time. And so you could have some roundish trees up the background if you so wished. Or if you wish, you can do anything you like here. It's your baby. Right, look, I've gone up there, and gone up there. That's boring. So I'm going to just come in between there and break that little area up just a little bit. It's nothing in particular. Look, they're just little blobs in there. Okay, right, so now you know what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing the same on this side. So I'll get underway, and then I'm just going to speed paint this piece so you can see what's going on while I'm trying to think about what my best option here is, because I've got a long way to go on this one. Okay, I think we can speed this up a little bit now. while that is wet, I'm just seeing where I can bring that line through. Right, that's the line going on through there. It's all a bit too wet, so I'm going to now bring this line down. Right, now that was not over clever because I didn't wet it first. And going back on it a second time was not over clever, but I think it's dropped it into line just a little more. I could always lower that slight hillock. So that little wash which I've dropped down there is not trying to marry up with the blue wash on the back. Alright, I'll let that dry. Okay folks, I've got a few gremlins back giving me a hard time. I'm not just talking about my camera at this moment in time, I'm talking about this area I've been looking at around there, and I can see I've overworked it. So look, that is a little bit of a downer for me, but so I need to lift my spirits a little bit. So I'm going to move into areas where I'm not struggling with these problems, and I'm about to get a pale yellow there, and I'm going to underlay it on the scarf now because that will be relaxing, easy, it will add a little bit of colour and make me feel a little better about it. There we go. I'm about to put a yellow wash on the scarf, and the reason I'm putting this yellow wash on, and it's a medium yellow wash, is because the scarf is going to be multicoloured. So it's going, I want yellow in between the red and green. And I can't do it afterwards, I'm putting it on now. And look, let me just, while I'm doing this, carry on talking. And I'm now talking about the downers and the gremlins. And we all get them. It is all part of the creative process. It doesn't matter whether or not you're singing, dancing, poetry. It is all part of the process. We all get our doubts. And I know when my students are getting their downers, I don't have to go and actually look at their paintings. I can hear it, because I hear a bit, and their body starts to slump. So I'll go over and see what's going on before they start to destroy themselves, because that is what they actually do. They're almost ready to cut their ear off, screw the paper up and chuck it in the bin. Yes, I get that, and there's no problem with doing that because you can get back to where you were very rapidly by a second run, and call the first piece a sacrifice piece. So what I'll do is, and I've got the advantage because I come up and have a look at their problem and I see it with fresh eyes. and they can't see it because they're on such a down, and they've been overworking something, let's say this area around here, and it's deteriorating at a rapid rate because the paper's too wet, so the situation is just getting worse. So I will say to them, look, come along and let's go and have a cup of coffee, if it's coffee time, or if it's not, I will keep them in after class, just so that I can have a little talk to them to stop them destroying themselves. Right, now I'm going to let this dry off, and then I'm going to come back with a nice little bit of lift red. I'm now about to move to this crimson red. I'll call it crimson. It is actual alizarin, but it comes under many other names. Okay, I'm still getting one or two problems, but I'm not going to be deterred by that, and I shall continue on regardless. I've got alternatives. I could narrate over the top if the sound gremlins give me too much of a hard time. Right, now I needed to say before I actually did the yellow that I got rid of all the white water and my palette to one side to keep these colours nice and translucent. So let's do it. Right, now you may have noticed that I haven't in actual fact water damp the paper down. I'm just going to allow the natural gravity drop down on my already, look, you can just see it on my already pre-under coated paintings. I'll just let that one drop. Underneath the hat is going to drop in the same direction anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to weaken the wash just a little bit on the cap line. There we go. Whoops. That was a little bit stronger than it looks like. I've just hit the fresh water and my loo roll and just lift a little bit of that off. There we go. Right, now when I come to do the underside of the bonnet hat, I will just strengthen the wash up just a little bit. Right, now I'm going to come around the scarf and having a quick look as to where to go. I don't want to disturb that little bit at the top there, so I can allow it to drop in around this area. Right now it's going to be where? Red, green, red, green. Now I'm going to come in on the red, so it's going to be red, Then I'm going to leave that yellow, white, hark at that. I'm going to leave the yellow little line, so it could be yellow, then it's going to be green, and then it will come back red again. I need to put numbers on there. Okay, I'm a little bit confused there, so I'm just going to move away now to an area where I'm not so confused. I will have red going into the hat. No, I'll have green going into the hat. So I'm going to have red coming around here. Just check my monitor to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to have a yellow line, green, so it's going to be red back here. Red around Mum's thumb. Then it's going to be yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red. So red will come out here. Got to be careful around the baby's fingers now. Yeah, I'm on camera. Head's out of the way. Yeah, that's good. Right, there's a good area there, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more floaty colour. It's got to swell a little bit because the baby's chubby around her fingers. Back down the bottom, let the puddle drop into the bottom there. I'm going to just put a little, oh, it's done it by itself anyway. So it's going to be, it's going to be yellow, green, yellow, and so there will be, just on the end here, back to red. Right now, I need somebody shouting out, green, red. Right, now I'm going to have red down the bottom of the scarf here. Could be a little bit wider than that. And I'm going to let the puddle drop in that underturn there. I might have to come out this way a bit, it's looking a bit narrow there. Let's make the scarf a little bit wider. Right now I've got to stop fiddling around at this area, because if I keep touching it, then it's going to actually start disturbing it all. So that's what I've got, and now I will start to go back to speed painting, because you know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm thinking, because half the time I don't either. Right, I want a puddle to drop in there. Right, that goes around the area, so it will come out here. But if I do it now, I'm going to pick that puddle up. Okay, I'm going to do it. Over the top. Let the puddle drop in there. Right, I don't want to puddle on the top here because that's going over. Okay, and now I'm going to be very picky here. Look, when I come up to this side of the scarf, I'm on the inside of my brush, so it means to say I've got very limited guidance to that brush. Ideally, I need to turn it round so that I've got the point of the brush within sight. But hey ho, it's I got away with it. So I'm just going to let that little, no I'm not, I'm going to carry on. You know what I'm doing with the scarf, so let me just show you what I'm now going to do around the hat. If I don't get my hand over the top of it and spoil it all. Right, now I've got a slightly thicker wash. Coming round the hat. Look, inside of the brush again. There we go, let's get that round there. Right, now I can get it back. Pick up a bit more wash. And allow that gravity puddle to drop down on top of my other shade and create a little bit more interest there. Okay, right, I've got away with that one. Gravity wise, I'm safe to do this one. Let me just zoom this in a little bit closer. There we go, now you can see it. And now I'm going to drop this one in, pointy bit of the brush in there. Pick up a little bit more wash. Turn it round because I want to get the pointy bit of my brush on the outside edge. There we go. Okay, done. You look, you can see it dropping into this just behind the head there. It's not overemphasized there, so I might just do that one again. But leave things alone at the moment. Right, now I'm just going to calm myself down and then start speed painting this. Right now, I think that's around about it. So I'm now going to allow that to dry before I go and pick up my green. The interesting thing is, when I'm speed painting, I tend to forget the monitor, but hopefully it's all in there, and hopefully you're hearing what I'm saying now. Right now I'm nice and calm. I've looked at the last clip and it's worked out well. So I've had a cup of tea, nicely relaxed, and I've come back. Look, I'm now on the green. Unfortunately I seem to have lost the chart a bit, but from looking at it, it looks like a Veridine green to me. But whatever green you got, that's fine, don't worry about it. Right, here we go, onwards and upwards. There's my green going in, and look, you can see why now I left that yellow underneath, so that I've got that little gap. Let me zoom that right in close. There we are. Right, get it in line. And get a yellow line this section. It's a mid-green wash, by the way. So look, it is still puddling, not a lot. Go again. Leave the little yellow line. Over the top. Okay, there we go. Right now, I want a little tiny bit of green in there, but this brush is much too large. You may notice, look, I've got loads of brand new brushes, but look, I'm still back on my old favourite brush, and we will all get them. Right, here we go, around the top here. It's a little large for me to get into those corners, so I'll leave that and come back with a smaller brush. Right, now if they're not absolutely accurate, and I can see, look, I've got a problem down there. The space I left between the red, the two reds, is not leaving me much space to the green. So therefore there's a slight imperfection there. But I'm not going to beat myself up about that one, because when you look at the overall picture, you may or may not notice that. If you do notice it, it means to say you're a perfectionist. And I will say something about perfectionists, but not at this moment in time. I think I can keep this one going normal speed because I've looked at the time run on this, and it is looking to me as though I'm going to have to move this from a 2-part to a 3-part. Unless I go into lots of speed painting and no talking, just put music behind it, and then it wouldn't be a tutorial, it would be a demonstration. Right, got that one in. Right, now there's another little one, and I've got to be very careful about this one because the baby's fingers are there. There we go. Oh, I hope my head wasn't in the way then. So I've got to come round the fingers, over the thumb. Yes, I got that one in. Right, another one right at the back here. Right, another one over the baby's tummy. Oh, once again, I've got there's some fingers in there. I've got to watch those fingers. Can't have a green-fingered snow baby. I can almost feel you holding your breath. Okay, it's alright to breathe. 1, 2, 3. Just got to count those fingers. Right now, look, big brush, clumsy, so I'm going to turn it round. So that I can see the point of the brush. There we go. Right, quick check around there. Right, I think we've got them all. Yeah, I'll use a little tiny brush just to tuck into those tight little corners there. And, okay, let's get the little brush now. I suspected that was going to be the case. No, I don't think I need to worry about anything there. Check, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Right, alright. What I'm going to do now is, while I've got the green here, I'm going to put up just a little bit of holly. Now, I'm not going to be over fussy about this, worrying about sharp edges or anything like that. Because you will spot it, or somebody will spot it up there, and I will let their imaginations fill in the rest. Because if I don't, I will in actual fact be going into miniature painting, and I'm a little bit past that these days. So there, look, I've got a little bit of holly at the top there, and while I've got the green here, I was talking about the possibility, and I'm still thinking about it, about dropping just a little tiny green wash in the trees, just to, I don't want them to be obvious, but you'll subconsciously spot it in there. So I'm going to put that green in there before I put my next wash of Chinese white on there. And look, have a look here, look. When I put that Chinese white on there, I avoided the baby's bonnet. And that's left a sort of half round parallel line round there. I'm not happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this in, and I will have the white actually come down behind the baby's bonnet, because what I don't want is, like I was saying on that chimney, I don't want the baby's bonnet to affect that which is way back in the background there. No, I'm actually painting, and that's wrong, because I don't actually know what it is I'm painting here. So I'm going to stop, and that is the advantage of having these little gentle washes. Right, let me zoom this back, see what we've got now. There we go. Right, now I've still got quite a lot of problems going on here, but I will sort those out as we go. Ah, I've just spotted another one. Look, don't just sit there next to me. Why didn't you advise me? Look, there's another one in here. That's better. Look, if I'd missed that, it would mean the scarf was not going around the snow baby. And I've got an opportunity now to start burying that rather clumsy line, heavy line under the baby, which I left there. In fact, I'm going to loop that round so it's not too tight around the baby. Always be prepared to make a few changes, and look, it's now past the baby, and that's quite helpful, because as I said earlier, everything is changing when you're painting, and you've got to remain flexible and go with the flow. Having said that, let's go and have another cup of tea and see if that clip came out okay. I think I've just spotted another one. Yeah, there we are. Around Mum's fingers. That's better. I'm now about to use what I believe to be a cobalt blue. It is a little bit lighter in tone than the ultramarine, and I'm going to use it on the baby's bonnet. Right, now this is quite an interesting part here, because you can decide whether or not it's going to be a male or female snow baby. So you could actually use pink, or you could use blue. Pink might be a little easier because it won't clash with the blue behind it. But nevertheless, I'm going to go with blue, and I'm just about to get my little tiny brush here. And what I'm thinking about and been looking at is that it's going to be blue up against blue, and so it's going to be stripy, and if I left the first one white, if I brought the snow over, it would clash with the hat or look as though it's going through the hat. So I'm going to go with a blue stripe on the outside here. and I am in, once again, I am in very, very close. So let's make sure my head's out of the way. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to make them very narrow. And they are quite a gentle wash. Because if I go with a heavy wash, it will make the bonnet look much too heavy for the baby's head. In other words, it would overpower it. See, thinking ahead. I think that's about as wide as I need to go. And while I'm painting here, I will carry on talking because I think I need to close this part 2 now, because you've been sitting there a long time. Well, I don't know about you, but I know I have. So we must be coming up close to the hour. So I think it is time for me to have a break. Right now, I'm just looking at that last line there. The hat is looking a little bit hard. Maybe I could have done with a more gentle wash. However, like I said when I started this, I have not done a test run. So therefore, I'm thinking aloud as I'm actually working here. But what I will do a couple of sacrifice runs on these trees back here, because I still haven't sorted that problem out. And it's much better that I do a couple of little sacrifice runs on that. Right, baby's bonnet. I don't want that blue line to continue on through there, because I want a fold on the baby's bonnet. So I'm going to stagger it. And I'm going to make that a little rounder. In actual fact, that one is a little bit softer, and it's actually working out better for a slightly weaker wash. I mean, so if I was going to be really finicky, I would try and make this look like soft knitted hat, because that one's looking very hard. So, I mean, can you see the difference now? This one's, the lower one is looking much softer, and it needs to start coming round, or a slightly different angle, as it stretches over the baby's head, because the baby has not got a flat head. And if I put straight lines there, all going down without them following around the contour, it will be saying the baby's got a flat head. Look, I know this is only sort of cartoonish stuff, but the rules still remain. Oh, much better now on this lower part of the folded bonnet. See, look, I'm learning as I'm actually going here. If I'd known this when I started at the top there, I would have made that much softer. But that is hindsight. And I got to live, in this case, with what I've got. And now that's worked out quite well, because this blue line has actually come up against the mum's face, which is proving to be helpful, because I've got that division between mum and her baby now. And I can get one more line in here, and I will have enough room just on the last bit of that bonnet. I'm going to put a little bit of blue because it would be there, to come back with a little bit of white back on there. Now, having looked at that, I'm still worried about that rather hard top, so I may just lift a little bit of that colour off, which I can do. Anybody who's seen my little grapes on my still life will know that I can lift colour off. Now, I might have a little bit of a problem with the bobble on the top, but that's another little problem I'll sort out as I go. Right, okay, and now I'm going to stop painting now. But not without having a little say here. A thought regarding the gremlins which I've had here on this particular thing, which has not been very, very helpful. But I will say this. Age has wrinkled my skin, but lack of enthusiasm will not only wrinkle my soul, but it will wither it. So in this particular case, I have not allowed a little bit of wrinkled paper or a few gremlins from stopping me from doing what it is I want to do. And I would suggest that you take a little bit of that on board. It is not about perfection. It is about doing something because you want to do it. Now, having said that, it's always the way, isn't it? I've looked at this little bit of bonnet there, and I want a little bit of extra weight where the bonnet is coming back into the baby's head. Can you see the difference between that one I've done there and that one where I haven't done it? So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to say bye folks. I will get back and do part 3, but I'm going to send this off because I like to live dangerously, because I know I'm running up close to Christmas now, and you may want to produce one of these before Christmas. So bye folks. Thanks for staying with me.